This is an emergency broadcast of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. This is not a drill. Remove any children and pets from your home and go to your nearest shelter. Remember to at all times listen to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. And whatever you do, do not under any circumstances trust what you see.
Happy New Year!
It is a little, happy holidays. Hopefully those of you who are listening right now have kind of been wondering where we've been. We took a little bit of a hiatus, and there's been some stuff going on. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. And speaking of today's episode, it is another wonderful chapter of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast.
You got that one right.
As always, I am joined by my co-host, Adam.
Hello, everyone.
And I am Topher, and I'm in the clink.
So, what's going on, man?
Well, I was thinking this is probably not going to be a full episode. We could just do a little quick one, or maybe we could make it a full one. We'll see. Yeah. We'll kind of go, but we just want to keep everyone updated and put some content out there, and just let everyone think we're on hiatus.
Right, or been abducted by aliens.
Or something. Yeah, boy, howdy, do I have some funny stories about that. So anyway, how was I going to start this? So I made a joke earlier about being in the clink. I'm not really in the clink, but I am in rehab. And I have been here. Why? Yeah. So, well, I don't want to give any specifics because I don't want to give anything away. Right. I was involved in an incident on my way home. About a month ago now, and I had been drinking like a dumbass, like a total complete idiot.
Hey, right, we're all told don't drink and drive.
And people who are listening, don't ever fucking do that. It is such a stupid thing to do.
It'll ruin your life.
It will absolutely ruin your life. And that's kind of when I came to terms with how much I had been drinking, which was a lot.
Mm-hmm. You know how much?
I don't have an exact amount. If anyone knows what a handle is, it's 1.75 liters of alcohol. I was drinking whiskey. Not
daily.
I was going through a handle every 2 or 3 days.
That's a lot of drinking.
And it was a lot. And I came clean.
That's like every day is a Saturday.
Yep.
With other people.
Yep. It was a lot. It was out of control, and it was from sun up to sundown. First thing in the morning after throwing up. And then all the way through the day until I passed out at night.
Topher.
And I know, it was every day. And so after this incident that happened, I ended up.
So wait, you got into an accident?
Yes. It was not.
Fender bender. Like, do you remember?
I do remember. My car was heavily damaged and needed repairs. The other person's car was barely a scratch.
Was he like an SUV or something? Is that why?
It was a big vehicle. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, and I haven't heard anything from my insurance company. Also have car insurance. Kids out there, it's important.
Right. For sure.
So and thank God the cops weren't called. I mean, I got lucky at every step of the way.
So wait, and this person knew you were drinking, or
no, they did not. Well, I'm assuming they didn't. I don't know.
But how come they didn't want the cops called? Usually they're.
I don't know the answer to that. Maybe the guy was cutting me a break. It was a It was a company vehicle that the man was driving.
All right. They care a lot less when it's a company vehicle.
Yeah, that might have been part of it.
And they don't want to get in trouble. Yeah.
Right. And there was no damage to their vehicle, so it was right. So anyway, no cops were called. Got right home, called my family and let them know what was going on. I came clean about my drinking, and I told them I want to go to rehab. It's time, because I've known for a while that this has been an issue and I couldn't control it.
Right.
So, my mom was going to wean me off alcohol, but that didn't really work, because when you're drinking that much, you can't just take one shot and then call it good for 12 hours, which we tried.
Yeah.
I ended up having a very serious seizure. Apparently, I stopped breathing, was turning blue, but got my breath back on my own, right in front of my mom, and she had to call 911. Got a really fun ride to the hospital. Second time this has happened. Second time we're in the ambulance. It was for the same reason the first time.
But the first time I thought it's because you quit cold turkey.
I did, yes.
So it's kind of the same thing?
Kind of pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
This happened back in July, actually. Technically that was the second seizure I had, but I fell, and that's when I split my head open. I had 26 stitches on my head. Anyway, this time didn't hurt myself, but still ended up in the hospital. And the next few days there were absolute hell. And to anyone who wants to know how horrifying it is to go through, I mean, I was drugged up, but Adam came to see me, and I didn't recognize him. I thought he was my brother the entire time, and I didn't recognize your wife. People who I see very regularly, and I imagine it's kind of like what having dementia is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wouldn't recognize people that I should obviously recognize.
Yeah, or like acid, or like whatever, like those or any other, like if you're just drugged up, it just happens. Your brain just meshes things together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I was having severe withdrawals, which included really bad hallucinations.
That's crazy. I did not know that happens with alcohol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I couldn't read a clock because the numbers kept switching places. That was one of them. There was a scuff mark on the lamp, and it kept spreading out, and I thought it was spiders. That was terrifying.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
I don't remember this one, but my mom said I kept asking her why she was flying around the room.
I didn't know that. She didn't tell us that.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good stuff. She's got videos and pictures of me. I was in pretty bad shape. My brother came to visit, and I don't remember any of that at all. I was heavily drugged. I did. This is kind of the most embarrassing part. I kept leaving my bed and trying to just walk out of the hospital in my gown, no clothes on underneath, of course. And there's one time I was leaving, and I was apparently yelling that I was just going to leave. I was just going to leave. You guys can't keep me here. And I got in a fist fight with a bunch of male nurses, and they had to strap me to the bed. I think they call it 4-point leathering. I'm not positive, but basically your wrists and ankles are strapped to each corner of the gurney, and you're not allowed to move. And I had to sit like that for basically 3 days while I'm
you think
drugged up.
Out of lost, I guess the drugs keep you.
I was heavily drugged up but heavily hallucinating, and it was hell on earth. And I don't even remember that much of it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing the nurse said when we walked in is like, he's calm today. Like, that was the first thing, so you can tell she was traumatized.
Yeah,
I was inspired before.
I feel so bad. I was an absolute terror to those people. But I was convinced that this is why we're doing this. Not why we're doing this podcast, but this is how the podcast blends into real life sometimes. I was convinced that they worked for the government, and they were trying to put some sort of device in me. I wasn't sure what the device was. And so I kept yanking the IV needle out of my hands and arms. So for the next couple of weeks, I had scab marks all up and down, and you can still kind of see the scabs on the back of my hand where they just had to keep sticking the IV in, because I kept yanking it out. Once the withdrawals, the hallucinations wore off, and they started lowering the drug dosages. I came to my senses a little bit, and I think I won them back a little bit, but I was an absolute terror to those people. I feel bad.
Yeah, you said you were calling them fascists.
Yeah. I was just screaming at them. Oh my God. And the other thing that was terrifying is there were a lot of periods of time where I just couldn't talk. I don't know if that was drugs or withdrawal, but I remember trying to have conversations with people, and I would lose my breath halfway through, or I just couldn't even form words. And I completely lost my equilibrium, so I couldn't walk. I was walking around with a walker, like you see the old people have, with the tennis balls on the bottom.
Yeah.
And it hurt. Everything hurt. I was in a lot of pain.
There was something also weird happening in that room where the water started going on by itself in the bathroom, and then you said that when that happened, you said that you think there's a ghost in here or something, because you said like someone keeps opening and closing the fridge door or something like that.
Yeah, I do kind of remember something about thinking the room was haunted or something.
Yeah.
Who knows what it was, but it was just, I was very, in a paranoid, heightened state. Right. So anyway, I was in the hospital for 12 days, and the second half of it was fine. It was just, they were constantly checking my blood pressure and making sure I was okay. I had an enlarged liver and fluid in one of my lungs, and thankfully that all was fine by the time I left. But I went essentially straight from there. Through my insurance. Also, besides car insurance, kids get health insurance because in this country you can't afford not to.
Oh, I can't even imagine how much the bill was. I'm sure it was like $20,000-$30,000 easily.
Yeah. I'm only, I don't know. I haven't seen the bill, but it's not going to be very expensive.
I mean, so, you just pay the deductible, whatever it is, $500 or something.
Yeah. Instead of, like 20, 30,000. But yeah, so got on the phone with the insurance company, contacted a few different rehab centers and found one that's right about 20 minutes south from where I live. So it worked out. And I've been here. I checked in on the 22nd of December. So Christmas Eve and Christmas and New Year's and upcoming birthday will all be spent in here, which is good, and obviously keeps me away from the booze, which is good. Yeah. And we're doing a lot. I'm learning a lot here. And
how was it there? I mean, they're giving you tools to help you and.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a large focus on AA and the 12 steps. I don't know how familiar everyone is with those, but it gives you a lot of tools. Yeah, to help you succeed. It is really, really, very positive program. And I was a little worried going into it. It'd be very God heavy, and it is, but they're not preaching. It's not preaching like a Christian God. It's preaching the God as you understand Him.
Right. And I think that's the first step. The first step is to believe in a higher power, right?
The first step is to admit that you have no control over alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah. I could go through them. I'm not going to. You guys, if you're interested, look that up on your own time. It is very interesting. I don't know if you know, but I had to go through a program when I was younger because I got into an accident around 18, and the law here does force you to go into programs. If you don't, what was the reason? Oh, I think because I had two. I think I had 2 DUIs within 2 weeks or something like that. Well, they put me through a program. Yeah, you asked what it's like here. The best descriptor I can come up with it's 1/3 summer camp, 1/3 prison, and 1/3 daycare. 1/3 prison, I guess. Well, you're not allowed to leave. Technically, I could, but you can do this thing called AMA, which is I don't know what it stands for, but basically you just pack your stuff up. You tell one of the nurses, say I'm leaving. There's kind of like they just say, okay, this person checked out, but they didn't have the doctor's approval. Okay. I could do that anytime I want, but I'm not going to because I am here to get better, which is right. Right. Yeah. But if I in order to leave the proper way, I have to check in with my doctor that was assigned to me here, and my therapist and my case manager. All people I've, been meeting with regularly, and they all sign off on it. But all three of them that I've spoken to have said, yeah, when you're ready to go, we're not going to hold you back because, the way the one I'm at works is they keep everyone separated by if they're detoxing or if they're here for actual rehab. Okay. And so like when I had gotten here, I was done with the detox part because I had been in the hospital for 12 days. And so they immediately moved me in the rehab part, which is a lot more chill and it's people who are a little bit more mature. But you still end up interacting with the detoxing people, and of course, they're tripping. They're going through it. They're going through hard times, and so it's a little bit more dramatic in that area of the building. I'm sure it is. And is it a good mix, or is it mostly drugs? No, in that case, this is an NA and it's a recovery program for both narcotics and alcohol. And I'd say it's a healthy mix. Okay. And it's a very diverse group of people here from age to race to religion to everything. Yeah. And they're from all over the country too, which is cool. In fact, it's kind of there's a lot. Like I met a woman from New Orleans, and met another one from North Carolina. A lot of people from the Bay Area are here. One of my good buddies that I met here, he was from Hawaii. Another one was from Ohio. I mean, there's people from all over the country here. Must be a really good place then if people are like traveling from across the country. Yeah, it is. It actually, I guess, it's pretty well known. This is my first foray into any kind of punishment for all of the misdeeds I've done. So this is all new to me, but it was easy to pick up. And everyone here has been very nice. The staff here is great. Nurses are fantastic. And the food is surprisingly good.
That's great. Is there like a mess hall or they bring you food?
Yeah. No, we got a little cafeteria.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Fancy.
I know, it's super fancy. And before the COVID times, the light ages, as I like to call them, we would go on. Apparently, they would take I call them campers, but it's the addicts, and they take us out like hiking into the beach and stuff. But they're not doing that, and they used to have like visitor hours and stuff, and they can't do that anymore either. Actually,
really that because it's COVID too.
Yeah, they're still the nurses are pissed about it because all the staff, they always have masks on and stuff.
What?
But none of the patients do. All of us.
Dumb, man. I can't believe making a two-tiered society like this.
It's ridiculous. Well, it's still the healthcare industry, so it's like that.
The healthcare industry is still stuck in COVID world.
Yep.
It's like a fucking different dimension.
I know, it really is weird.
I went to the doctor the other day, and I have a mask. It's black, but it's easier to breathe through. Mm-hmm. And they actually said, Can you see through that? I'm like, no. She's like, well, I can see through it, so here, wear this. She gave me the surgeon mask.
Oh, jeez.
Fuck. It matters. Like I was gonna say, viruses go right through this. It doesn't matter. Like, why are you going through this? I shut up. Why make her job more difficult?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for them. But they are working really hard, and they do a lot of good for us. But
yeah,
man, I can't tell you how many, going back to the how it's like daycare. It's just how many so one of the things we learn here, or I've been told here, and I believe this, and I've heard it before, is the first time you start using drugs or drinking, that's when your brain development stops, like in terms of emotional maturity.
Huh.
And so the fights that break out here are just ridiculous. There's a lot of them. There's usually one major event that happens every day.
Really?
And it's all anyone should talk about.
Patients fighting?
Yes. Or they're yelling at the nurses and stuff because they didn't get the right meds or something. Oh, also, there have been, I forgot to mention this up top, there's nightly AA meetings, which I've been attending.
Okay.
In preparation for all the work I'm going to have to do on the outside.
I used to go to those too. Again, court ordered. Like when it was my name, I always say I'm here from the court. I had to make it. I'd let them know because everyone's like, I'm an alcoholic. You have to say your name and say you're an alcoholic, and then they think,
right.
And then when he was coming to me, I used to say my name and say I'm here by court order. I never said I'm an alcoholic.
Well, it really has been beneficial. I mean, on occasion you do kind of tend to hear some of the same stories over and over again, but there's just a lot of people here are just they've been just beaten down and just are so broken. I mean, it really puts, one of the first thoughts I had when I started talking to the people around here and making friends and listening to their stories is just, it really puts my own problems into perspective, and there's really nothing for me to be so upset about. But another thing that is taught pretty heavily, which I'm doing my best to, I'm really trying to buy into it, but I'm struggling with is they always talk about addiction is a disease, and I understand it's a disease, but also at some point, in my opinion, well, I'm basing this off of my own experience. It's a choice, you can't drink tap water and get drunk. You have to go to the liquor store and buy it, but that's the disease trying to trick you, right? That's what they say.
But even Listerine, people drink Listerine to get wasted, and these things so they also it doesn't count, it's just Listerine, I'm just gonna get a little bit buzzed. I think even kombucha, I don't know how much it has, but kombucha
it's not a whole lot.
Yeah, I know they warn you. They say, if you're trying to quit alcohol, don't have this.
Yeah.
But they do have hard kombuchas, which is 8%.
They've got hard everything now. Mike's Hard Lemonade was the first one I remember.
Yeah.
That was the first one I remember, and then now they have all of the. Now it's. Yeah, I mean that's what some of the older people here say is they're just amazed at how many different choices there are in terms of things to drink alcohol from.
It's insane, and how easy it is. And 2 grams, 100 calories only. They make it so just easy.
Yep, and so Did I say the date? Did I say what today was? I know we said Happy New Year at the top.
We said Happy New Year. Today is the 4th. Did you know what else happened on January 4th?
No, I did not. Let me know.
Today in UFO history, Barney Hill goes under
Oh.
hypnosis. Yes, January 4th, 1964.
I am so excited to get back to talking about UFOs and aliens and stuff. So what I was getting at is it's football season. The NFL is winding down its regular season, and I swear to God, every other fucking commercial is alcohol related.
Yeah.
And so here we all are, watching football, trying to keep our minds off of anything but drinking, and it's difficult. And I'm hearing the same sentiment from a lot of people, is that it's hard to keep your mind occupied when all we do here is talk about our addictions.
Yeah,
but you have to.
Are you the youngest there, or one of the youngest?
No. I feel like I'm right in the middle of the pack.
Oh shit! And those are, but they're probably in for narcotics, right? They really are.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny because you can tell how old or young a person is based on what they're in here for. Because like a lot of the kids will talk about not even the kids, like a couple years younger than me, will talk about like Xanax, and I'm just like, or fentanyl, and like that's not even a thing that I knew existed until a couple years ago. And there's already people.
Yeah, are they really taking fentanyl? I thought you die if you take fentanyl. There's no like middle ground or.
No, I don't even know. But a lot of them say, someone will say, here's the drug that you requested, but it's not. It's fentanyl, and that's how they get hooked. But it's the older generation. A lot of them, have done crack or meth and stuff like that. Guys who are like in their mid to late 30s or early 40s or even older. It's sad, man. It's really sad. But I have met a lot of cool people. I've heard some heartbreaking stories. But it's interesting because we all are in this together, and I think we know that. And that's kind of what makes it such a tight knit community. Despite I know I just said earlier that there's a lot of fights that break out, but it is a pretty tight knit community. But it is very much like junior high school. It's a little cliquey. It's interesting.
Of course. Oh yeah, of course. You choose who you're gonna hang out with, and there's the cool ones, and
right.
But yeah, you're going through something serious together, so there should be close bonds.
Right, and there is. I had some cool heart to hearts with people, not even about addiction, just about life in general.
Yeah, and do you think you'll stay in touch with each other afterwards?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple people here that I've already gotten phone numbers from, and we text, where are you if we can't find, just normal stuff. But we're already talking on the phone on occasion. I was just gonna say, still have the alcohol brain, I guess. Oh, I've got all my function back. I'm essentially back up to 100%. No more tremors, no more hallucinations. My equilibrium's completely back. I actually went to the gym last night.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. First time I lifted weights in over a year.
Going to the gym, getting those endorphins up. So they have a gym here.
It's nothing fancy. There's 2 treadmills, one of those machines where you can like move the thing up and down and adjust the weights, and there's like a barbell and stuff like that, and there's a bunch of dumbbells and some exercise bikes, but it's not, it's about as big as the room I'm sleeping in. It's not a huge thing.
Probably no one uses it either.
There's a group of about 10 people that use it pretty regularly. Out of the, I don't know how many people here, 50, 60?
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going to continue AA once you're out?
Yes, I am. I'm putting together a plan with my case manager for what the aftercare program, which is probably going to include IOP, which means after work for 3 hours a day, 3 times a week, I'd go to a facility like this and attend some of the therapy meetings like I've been doing currently. And then after that will be outpatient. But in addition to that, individual therapy with my current therapist, continue doing that. And also, go to AA meetings. So I'm going to be
and your therapist that's there.
Yes. So I haven't been meeting with my outside therapist because I'm in here.
Okay.
But I am meeting with the therapist that they assigned me in here. Yeah.
But I mean, once you're out, you go back to your original therapist, right?
Yeah. That's the plan anyway.
Well, it's a lot of work. Was it once a week or is it gonna be more than that?
Case manager said the magic number is twice a week. So I would like to do Monday and Friday, but if I'm doing IOP those days, I won't be able to do it. So it might be Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm not sure. I'd love to do Friday and Saturdays, but I think back to back isn't really good. I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of the most frustrating thing is they've given me all the tools, and I feel like all of this is prep work, and I can't wait to be get out of here so I can actually start doing the real work.
Right. And Friday, Saturday makes sense because
those are drinking nights.
Yeah, exactly. And you have time.
Yeah, but we'll see. That's what I'm getting at is I need to be out of here before I can start putting stuff on the schedule because I don't know what the schedule is yet.
Right. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, I mean, there's always something going on, but it's not always the same one. So you might end up with different groups. I think then there's a sponsor.
Yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to figure out once I find the AA group that I want to attend.
Yeah, I remember there's a lot of cigarettes and coffee, but that was back then.
No, it's pretty much to say you can't smoke indoors, but yeah, I'm not proud of this, but I started smoking cigarettes again because they're like golden here, and that's where
exactly. It's a substitute, I guess, or
everyone, nearly everyone smokes, or if they don't smoke, they vape. I think I've met one person that doesn't do either, but yeah, man.
I'd be smoking too, even though I don't smoke, but I would for sure.
But it's kind of funny. I feel like half of my therapy has ended up out on the smoking deck because that's where you like talk to people and hang out and chill,
Yeah. I mean. When I was in the corporate world, a lot of the meetings and whatever happened when people were smoking together, and I wasn't really smoking, so I feel like I'll be missing out a lot on that. So yeah, you're right. That's where people socialize, and that's where people see UFOs too. I mean, a lot of reports are I went outside to have a cigarette, and because most people just sit inside, but smokers go outside to smoke, and they all see shit that people don't see.
I have been staring at the stars every night, but I haven't seen anything good out here.
Of course, you're really near me, by the way.
Lots of light pollution. What?
You're very near me, near my house.
Near you. Yeah, no, I know. So it was funny. There's this the way they get cigarettes in here is you have to fill out a sheet. You order them, and then on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, there's a guy that comes and you buy them, and he gives you the cigarettes. But there was one day he didn't show up and everyone was dry. And I called my buddy and his wife, who I won't say their names.
Yeah.
But you've met them. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I don't know if you're comfortable doing this. Is there any way you could go to a gas station, buy like 4 packs of cigarettes for me and just drop them off at the front desk? And he's like, I mean, at that point, it was really funny because that day, because it was right when I'd started, I was like, people kept offering me cigarettes. I was fine. And I kept bumming cigarettes off people. And I felt so bad about it. And I was like, I'm just going to buy a shitload of them because we're fresh out until Wednesday. This guy didn't show up on a Monday. And so you can drop stuff off for people. And so I had them drop it off at the front desk and I picked them up and I was like, all right, everyone gets cigarettes. I mean, so when I called them and I was like, dude, I know this is such a weird thing. We ran out of cigarettes here and everyone's jonesing, it's a bunch of addicts and alcoholics. So everyone is kind of is a little shaky and stuff. And earlier that I was explaining to him, I was like, it was so bad that there was 1 pack of cigarettes that one of the counselors brought in and we were playing games for those cigarettes. And I was describing this to him and he goes, are you in rehab or are you in prison? And
yeah, it's the same thing. Huh?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly. And
it's like currency becomes currency.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And so I paid everyone back that was due, but I was just passing those out left and right. I went through that really fast, unfortunately. What else
is currency in prison?
What's that?
Ramen.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
So it's cigarettes and ramen noodles.
Yeah, but they feed us. Oh my God, the portions here are absolutely ginormous. They overfeed us. But I think a lot of it has to do with there's so many people here who are just thin because they don't eat. Whether because they're on drugs or they're drinking, they just haven't eaten in so long. Right. And so they're trying to get us to put weight back on. But there's a few of us, we just have to be like, okay, please, smaller portions. Not eating was never one of my problems.
So wait, I guess yeah, 'cause it's like buffet style, right? You go up there and they put on your plate.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
have like, the dish changes every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, and you just say okay, yeah, I'll have some of this, I'll have some of that, or you can just say I'll take it all.
Cool. So
Anyway,
do they keep you busy all day?
yep, we are in group therapy and individual therapy and small group therapy, which is just basically it's just group therapy, but instead of having 30 or 40 people there, it's like 4 or 5.
Okay.
So it's just a little bit more intimate. And we do that basically from 8:30 until 3:30, and then we're off for the rest of the night. Oh, and then AA is at 6:30.
Oh, okay. So you're just off for a bit, then you go to AA, and then you're off for the night.
Yeah, and AA is not required. It's optional. But I've gone every night because
Okay.
I need to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's welcoming and
Yeah, it's you kind of have to be. I think
yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
going to make any friends here by being a dick.
That's true.
Yeah.
So when do you think you're out? You're out.
I'm in the middle of discussing it with my case manager. I want to be out of here on the 15th. That way, because I'm not going to work until the following Monday.
Okay.
But I want to give myself ample time to check out some different AA meetings. Hopefully, find a sponsor within that time. Figure out if I'm even able to do IOP and where that would be. I want to get all that stuff, all my ducks in a row before I go back to work. So I'm not trying to figure that out. A, while I'm at work, or B, after work, because that's not a good time for me to try and do any of that.
Yeah. And work's all okay too.
Yeah, everything's good there. There's a program. I don't want to say what it is because I'm not sure if it's a national thing or a state thing.
Okay.
But basically, you have a certain amount of days you can take off for like family emergencies. It's used primarily if you're having a kid or if a family member's sick.
Okay.
You're given a certain amount of time off, and if it's approved by the company and by I guess the state, they can't fire you or take any punitive measures against you if you've applied for this thing. Oh, and also I filed for disability as well.
Oh, good.
So I'll be getting paid 60 to 75% of my normal paycheck while I'm here, which is great.
That is awesome. Seriously, thank goodness for these type of programs.
Yeah, for sure.
Or then you'd have to raise money from other sources.
Mm-hmm.
Usually family and friends.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but I don't know. Unless you have any questions about this, or there's a couple. I don't have a whole lot of time. Dinner's going to be here probably about 10, 15 minutes.
Any funny stories?
Oh, I've got plenty. Probably not appropriate for I don't want to dox anyone. Or let me just the most of the funny stuff. I haven't been involved with any of the drama, but watching from the outside, it's always funny because someone's always paranoid that their vape is missing, or people getting into fights just about really who gets to control the TVs and the break. I call it the break room, but it's like a conference room.
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's dumb, but most of the stories that have stuck in my head are people who have spoken up in meetings where I can't tell you what they said. It's really sad and it's heartbreaking.
It's funny they allow vape though, because how do they know it's not like weed vape?
Well, you have to buy it through the same cigarette guy.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so he's like an approved supplier.
And obviously you can't bring anything in. Like when I showed up, I'm so pissed. I had this bottle of body wash called Whiskey Reserve. It was straight up. It was body wash.
So you weren't just drinking whiskey. You were bathing
in it.
In whiskey.
No, it's from Bath and Body Works, I think. And one of my coworkers got it for me. Oh, it smells so good. It doesn't smell like whiskey, but it was a hair and body wash, and they took it. And I didn't have body wash, and so I'm using like this little bar of soap. Ugh.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like, I'm not breaking a sweat all that often here. It's a lot of sitting around.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, so what do you do for entertainment?
I have my phone now, but for the first 5 days, I didn't have my phone. So I was doing a lot of writing. Journaling, and I was reading the Big Book of Alcoholics, which has been super beneficial. Doing like stuff like crosswords and just goofy stuff like that. It honestly wasn't all that bad.
All right.
Not having my phone.
You have a TV, but the TV is like shared.
Yeah. Yep. TV shared, and there's nice, comfy couches.
Like billiards.
There's ping pong, which I'm getting good at,
Oh, good. Okay.
and
Love
we've
ping
been
pong.
playing cornhole too.
What's that?
That's the thing. It's those you stand about 30 feet apart, and there's those platforms made out of, usually it's wood, and there's
Oh,
a
yeah, with
circle.
the
There's a
hole.
circle, yeah, and you have to
Okay.
throw the bags of sand into the hole,
Right.
or get it on
That's
the
a fun
board. Yeah, the problem is both ping pong and cornhole. Those are drinking games I used to play when I drink.
one.
But yeah,
So wait, you drink when you don't get it in, or
no,
when you...
you just have a beer in one hand and you drink
Gotcha.
as you play. Yeah.
Well, that could apply to really anything, right? I mean,
Hey,
yeah. So what time's dinner?
usually it's between 5:15 and 5:30. I got some time.
Okay, cool.
It's open until 6, so I don't have to rush down there right away.
So did you hear what we signed that omnibus bill, right? The $1.7 trillion
Mm-hmm.
thing. But did you know what else was in there?
Well, I no, I don't, not specifics, but I know it was like an over 4,000 page document that no one read, and it just immediately got signed and pushed
There's
through.
some cool UFO stuff in there, UAP stuff in there. There's a book that came out called Trinity. I don't know if I told you about it, but I have. It's a great book by Jack Valet and Paula, what's her name? Paula Harris. Anyway, she's been investigating this incident that happened at the Trinity site where we first exploded the first nuclear bomb in 1945. It was secret, right? But it still happened. And even the sand there that got fused into this green glass, they called it Trinitite because named after the area Trinity. So anyway, the first atomic bomb was there, but there was apparently a UFO crash a month after that near that area. And these two farmer kids, they were really young when it happened, and they were witnesses to it. And they said that, this thing came down, made a really loud noise, and these praying mantis or ant-like beings came out, and they were like almost crying, and they said that they were like floating, but they said they were distraught. Something was wrong with them, and they just watched them from far away. Anyway, the military came in. It took them like 2 weeks or something to put the ship on a truck, and they took it away. And these kids did take evidence from that, and they have it. Anyway, there's a whole book about it. So in the omnibus bill, there is in there that the DoD has to conduct a study, an investigation in the 1945 Trinity UFO landing case. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I as anything with government, I doubt any of it will see the light of day for the public.
I know, because the same thing happened with Roswell, right? 1947, when they were forced to, like, oh, those were just dummies.
Yeah, so dumb. It was Operation. They were talking about Operation High Jump. Yeah. I did see. I haven't really been. Obviously, I haven't had my ear to the ground in terms of news, but I did see. Who was that guy? I don't remember his name, but he is asked to give a report to Congress about the UFOs that showed up over a nuclear site and shut everything down in the 80s, I think. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, in the 70s.
70s. Yeah, he's been asked to give a report. But there's been a lot of crazy stuff happening these last couple of weeks. I've only gotten really the headlines, but I did see. Did you hear about the Bills player that collapsed on the field during?
Yeah. So he was vaccinated. I mean, hopefully, let's hope they do a good autopsy and really find out.
Well, he's still alive. He's still alive.
Yeah, but he's like brain dead or something because he went through. I don't think they said he's alive. Is he like awake?
I don't think he's awake. Because that was the thing, because we saw it live. That was really freaky. Because it was a normal play. He makes a tackle, stands up, and then just falls straight on his back.
Yeah.
But they had to do CPR on him.
For 9 minutes.
9 minutes. Yeah. And he wasn't.
Brain dead.
Well, no. I read when he was first admitted to the hospital, he was 100% not breathing on his own. And now he's down to 50% oxygen, which means he's breathing, but not fully on his own yet. But as far as I know, he hasn't woken up. Still really freaky about. A lot of the people who are into football, we were talking about it, and it really is like modern day gladiators. The thing about the best athletes on the planet, the biggest, the strongest, the fastest people going full speed at each other. I'm surprised something like this doesn't happen more often, even with all the updates and padding technology.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying the vaccine does make it worse.
Yeah, if you look at the stats people are putting out of people who have athletes, especially who have either dropped out on the field or had heart attacks at a young age, it's like the combined amount of to get the same amount of people, you'd have to combine like the last 3 or 4 decades.
Yeah, it was on Tucker, I think yesterday. The years before, because they tracked this, cardiac arrests were, I think, 29 in Europe a season, and it went up from 29 to 1,500.
Yeah.
After 2021. So,
and we're not allowed to ask why that might be.
It's so insane. It really is. It's so insane. But, I think it's waking up people when you're not allowed to talk about something or,
Yep.
used to work with UFOs. It worked with 9/11, JFK. For some reason, I'm happy it's not working with this one because it's your own body. It's people it's things you watch live. So it's different. Maybe the government was used to just telling us small, whatever they think of us as. It's not working this time. For COVID, it didn't work. Not like the other psyops. People are like, no, man. I have eyes to see. I can discern what's happening here. I'm not an idiot. But, other topics, you can just get away with it because it's not in their lives.
Right. Yeah, man. It is pretty cool to see it's hard to call it a resistance movement, but it is good to see the pushback.
Yeah, it's a huge pushback. No, you can call it a resistance movement for sure. And, it's the reason why lockdown stopped. It's the reason why they stopped the mandates. It's because pushback even worked in China. Even China got rid of their zero COVID policy. They're done. So because there are people and it's way riskier in China to do what they did.
Mm-hmm.
People just rose up and they said, screw it. I have nothing to lose anyway. You destroyed my life. And the government said, fine, we're done with zero COVID. And now because of that, they have 250 million infections. But so what? They're not going to die. They're not going to need hospitalization. We know that from the past.
Right.
They're just some asymptomatic carriers, most of them.
Yeah. There was something else that I saw. I can't, of course, do 2 things at once. But there was something else in the news that I think was UFO related that I was going to talk to you about. But I don't remember what the hell it was.
Was it that video from Catalina?
I don't think so.
It was one in November that was taken in Rosarito. It was and just showing all these people are saying that it's planes coming into LAX, but it might be. But then I'll send you the video. You can have a look. Those are not planes, especially the way some of them are like diving.
Once again, right over the water.
Yes, right over the water. Catalina,
like we've talked about. For those who don't know, Catalina is an island off the coast of Southern California.
Exactly. It's
Catalina wine mixer.
Catalina wine mixer. There's Catalina and there's San Clemente Island. San Clemente Island is used by the military for military exercises. They bomb it all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a lot going on out there. It's weird. There must be a base underwater.
Or they're just, for whatever reason, they're attracted to water. I mean, that's where people see. We've talked about it many times on the podcast.
It's always over water.
Yeah, it's always over water for some. Not always, but a lot of times. Very frequently.
They either originate or then go back out there.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense to hide. We can't go through there. We can't.
Yeah, I mean, we know
go fast either.
When you look at how much of the ocean we've mapped, it's such a small percentage. I mean, if you see topographical maps in the ocean, that's just from like satellites and infrared imaging. That's not us mapping it.
Nope, not at all. And the speeds, we can't go that fast down there.
Yeah.
When these things, it doesn't matter if they're transmedium. It doesn't matter if they're in water, space, or air. They go the same speeds.
It's crazy, man. It really is.
There's a great interview with Joe Rogan. He interviewed this Air Force pilot, Ryan Greaves. I was listening to it today. Fascinating, dude. You need to listen to it. This guy was basically saying when they got their new radar equipment, all of a sudden that's when they started seeing this stuff. He's like, it's always been there. We just could never see them. And he was saying it's a sphere within a cube, or a cube within a sphere and a cube in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
These things are going so fast, transmedium.
I've seen. There's been Air Force pilots that have reported seeing that exact same thing.
Yeah, you talk about their reporting, and now there's a reporting mechanism, and they're encouraged to. They don't make a joke about it anymore. He said before they were just joking about it, but they've all been briefed, and it's not a joke anymore. They have to like really repeat it.
Yeah, the CIA did a really good job on their anti-UFO psyop. To make everyone who thinks they see a UFO make them seem crazy to everybody else.
Yeah, and they did such a good job where they have to change the name. That's why it's UAP.
Yep.
It's too much baggage.
Yeah, that's absolutely fucking pathetic. That's really the smoking gun for me, is the fact that they had to try so hard to make it seem like it was such a phony baloney thing.
Yeah. I mean, I used to fight with so many people when I was in my 20s about UFOs. Like, they'd sit there and laugh, and, I'd sit there and call them idiots. I mean, I got to a point where I wouldn't even argue with them anymore. And I did get to that point. I think I was like 25 probably 25. People, when they did find out and they wanted to have a conversation, I'm like, I'm not having a conversation about it. I'm like, I'm convinced you're not. That's fine. That's your problem.
Yeah.
It's not my problem to convince you or anything.
Well, and
it's so upset.
The problem with people in general is once they've made up their mind about something, they're not going to change it for any reason whatsoever. That's why people vote the way they do. They see a D or an R next to a person, they go, oh, well, that's who I'm voting for, because the little letter next to their name.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't even know their uniparty. I mean, I remember I used to like show really intelligent people. I'm talking about people who were like straight A students, almost full scores on their SATs, and I'd show them these videos from NASA. And he'd be like, that's a comet. I'm like, this is Earth. I'm like, this is Earth, okay? Because it would be from space. I'm like, this is Earth, and it's flying the other way. Earth would grab it if it's a comet. It's not, which means it's propulsion. And he just look at it. He goes, that's a comet, man. I'm like, oh, dude, oh my god. So like you said, people, they just don't want to see it, or they have excuses.
Yeah, I don't know. However you can stay in your bubble, I guess. I mean, some people they're comfortable there, and that's where they want to stay.
Because it's scary too, and then it has more questions, and it's distracting, and then you go into rabbit holes, and I get it.
Oh, I know what I was going to bring up. I only have half the story in my head, so I'm going to butcher it, but I'm hoping you'd heard it.
Yeah.
I think it was the Department of Defense hired a bunch of priests and people from like high-ranking officials in different religions. Was it NASA? They're trying to figure out how to break to the public that, like, how the public would take it. They're trying to figure out how the public would take it if they announced if aliens are real.
Do you know why?
I don't know why. Enlighten me.
James Webb Telescope.
Oh.
So once that was launched, they hired 20 different theologians.
That's what it was.
They didn't know what they were going to see. And they are seeing insane stuff. Yeah, 24 theologians worked with NASA. We're paid to think about alien life. But yeah, so I think the James Webb Telescope is going to find something. We already found carbon and oxygen on planets. It's already finding all that. It's already seeing through the atmosphere of like Jupiter and Saturn. I mean, it's really impressive stuff what I can see. Beautiful pictures.
Yeah, all the pictures I've seen from the James Webb are absolutely phenomenal. It's great.
And it's always been a theologian thing. That's what stopped us. It's all is my theory. Okay, and I think I might be right here. It's because there's a certain group of people that say that they're chosen, and the Christians believe that they're chosen. All right, and this will completely destroy that, because obviously there's other civilizations out there and species that are way more advanced. Way more powerful than you are, and that means you're not chosen, buddy, and that means your book and all that is all BS.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I don't know if I've mentioned what religion I was raised. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
But one of the things that we were taught from a very young age was that man was made in God's image, and if some aliens come down and they don't look anything like us, it kind of throws a whole wrench into that.
They're demons, but then that's what they're demons, right?
Yeah. Kind of going on that topic. Do you remember that movie Signs by M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes, I know. I watched it the other 2 months ago. With my daughter, I told you have to watch this because she's into these movies with twists now.
Oh, wasn't
I'm like, this is a great twist. Watch this one.
Oh, she wasn't scared? That movie terrified me as a kid.
She kind of was, yeah, but because it was good that they had a girl in there, which helps.
Yeah. It took me a long time to realize that they're not aliens, they're demons.
Oh yeah, they did mention that. And then some prayer happened in the Middle East and they went away, right?
Right. Well, all of the stuff like the lights in the sky, all the they're afraid of water, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a very religious movie. Strangely enough, I think people kind of miss that,
I
and
did miss that.
because he's a priest and he has a daughter, right? And
Yeah,
she leaves water all over the place, so it's holy
right
water.
there, my face.
Yeah.
Water. Oh
And
my God.
that's why they can't open doors, is because they're not. It's not because
You have
aliens
to
don't know
let
how to
them
open
in.
doors. Yes, exactly.
Dude, you nailed it. I didn't even that was
Yeah.
so obvious.
Yeah. It's such a good movie, but it took me a few watches before I finally was like, and by that time I've been, I was listening to a podcast that was going over the Book of Revelations, and they had talked about signs, and I kind of put two and two together. I was like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah. Revelations is something else though. If there's one book out of them, the Revelations is the scary one. Either they are following it like a script, okay, just so people can just believe in what's going on in this world because that's what works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's really happening,
Yeah.
It's just weird that seriously everything's playing out like it said it's going to happen.
Yeah,
So,
it's trippy.
yeah, so I always have two sides of it. Either they're following as a script, so like when the final outcome happens, people believe it more because it's religious and it's in the books, right? Or it really is just because if it was really showing us, how where the world's going, right? Mark and the Beast, all that, right? If it's really, they would make it illegal. I'm not saying they're not trying to. They kind of are, right? They're trying to say it's racist and anti-Semitic and stuff like that. I mean, in Ukraine, that Zelensky psycho tyrant just banned the Orthodox Church.
Well,
I mean,
even worse than for me is he made a deal with BlackRock for them to rebuild their infrastructure. It's just like, good God, just evil begets evil. It never stops.
He's one of them. I mean, it's just the same tribe making money.
Yeah. Real quick, I got to get going here in just a minute. Well, I got maybe 10 minutes or so.
Wait, where are we at? We're at 52 minutes. We're good.
52?
Yeah, we're almost in an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. Wow. I thought this was going to be like a 15-minute episode. This is great. We've talked about ancient civilizations before and how it's likely there was a very intelligent civilization that got wiped out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched that show on Netflix, Ancient Apocalypse?
Not yet. Is that not John Hancock, but Hancock? What's his name?
Right? Honestly, I don't remember. He truthfully, I think he brings up a lot of good ideas, but he does a little too much conjecture for a journalist.
Okay.
Like he'll look at something and he goes, this was probably a this and that. And you're like, I mean, it could be or it could not be. You don't know. It's not a probably thing.
He's written great books. But yeah, I mean, and he's obsessed with the whole comet theory. But is it good?
It is good. And he goes to a lot of different ancient sites and they like do all this underground scanning so you can see what the original structure looked like. It's really cool. And he goes to places that go against what modern science says about our past.
Did he go to Göbekli Tepe? Wait, Göbekli Tepe, is that how you say it?
I've only seen through episode 3 or 4. I'm not sure if he's gone there yet.
He's the one who made that big though, because when they found it in Turkey, he went out and I think he even wrote a book about it. But that one is crazy because it predates everything by 5,000 years,
right? And
it's highly it's technology.
That's basically what each episode he goes to one or two sites and he points out the fact, they date the sites and realize like, okay, this is a well-built structure that is supposedly was built, like 5,000 years before the first known man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't add up to, what current science says about all that.
So weird. I mean,
it's very bizarre.
I mean, there's definitely another species here before us, like Machu Picchu in Peru. When you look at that, it's not finished, right? Why isn't it finished? I mean, is it like someone they were building it out and humans were getting too close and like screw this and they just left, like something like that, because we must seem so barbarous and like violent and.
Well, I think I mean it could be that, or I think his hypothesis is that the Ice Age killed off most humans, and we had to basically restart all of society over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it brings up. I don't think. He also talks about the different myths and different cultures. Like I can't remember the god's name, but he landed in Mexico and taught.
Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, taught I believe it was the Mayans, taught them how to farm and all this other stuff. But all these different cultures, ancient cultures, have people that show up and teach them how to be civilized.
Yep. Yes.
And it seems like I haven't gotten through the whole series, like I said, but it seems like his hypothesis was there was a small group of people, or people of this advanced race that survived, and in order to restart society, they kind of went all over the world to these.
Yeah. That is what he says.
Yeah, these primitive cultures and taught them how to rebuild society.
I mean, it's basically the Atlanteans, right? There was a small group that survived it, and then they went around. They even told the Sumerians, because out of nowhere, the Sumerians all of a sudden had like culture. They had music, they had mathematics, they had agriculture, all that stuff, mathematics, inventory management, all these things out of nowhere.
Right.
So yeah, and and then there's this other guy I've told you before about him. He watches the sun, and he's really smart, and he's a scientist basically. He has textbooks that he sells. But him and others have found out that there's a 12,000-year-old cycle that keeps happening, and it's a pole shift, and it does destroy everything. And remember those mammoths that were found in the North Pole? They even had their food in their stomachs. They were still digesting food. Yeah. So it happens that quick, and the same flip is going to happen again. And he said we're in that time, so it could be anything between 10 and 20 years where that flip happens again.
Woof. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully I'll be sober during that time, so I'll have my head on straight.
And on a mountain somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember
if you're on the coast, he goes, you're gone.
Yeah.
If you want a quick death, he goes, be on the coast, you'll be gone in time.
This is not even related, but I just thought it was kind of funny. There's this show called Into the Night on Netflix. It's the dumbest concept, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it actually is kind of smart. Where basically these people are on a plane, and they figure out that the sun is killing people just like immediately, kind of like you were just talking about the mammoth.
Yeah.
And so the show is about them trying to stay away from daylight. So they're constantly flying around the earth, and they have to land. They have to land and like refuel before the sun rises, and they take off again. It's kind of, it sounds like a really stupid concept, but it actually turns out it's a pretty good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it a few months ago.
What a concept! That's
hilarious.
And
I'm still thinking about it and talking about it. And then there's like a side cool, and it takes place aboard a submarine, and it's basically the same concept where they're in a submarine. And they have to stay way deep underwater until the sun goes down, and then they can resurface. And it's just them trying to figure out what the hell to do, basically. And obviously there's a lot of like interpersonal drama because you're stuck on a plane or you're stuck on a submarine.
Right.
But yeah, I really enjoy both those shows. I can't I'm trying to remember, the submarine one's weird. It's called like Uzbank 457. It's got a weird name to it. If you ever find Into the Night, it'll come up as like what to watch next or something.
Like related.
Yeah.
I mean, is it because the U-boats, the German U-boats? Maybe that's why the name's like that.
I think it's the name of the boat. I'm not positive. Maybe I can look it up real quick. Anyway, yeah, you should watch that at least for the first episode and see what you think, because I found it very entertaining.
Okay, Into the Night it's called?
Into the Night, or is it Into the Dark? No, it's Into the Night. But I watched it. It's a Belgian show. I watched it with English dubs, but one of the main components of the show is these are international travelers, and so some of them don't speak the same language, and so they're having to translate for each other, and that gets kind of lost in the dub because they're all speaking English. Okay, the submarine one is called Yakima's S-245.
Yakima's S-245, what a name.
That's the name of the boat that they're on.
Right, but it's the name of the show though, right?
Well, into the that's the name of the submarine one. The plane one is called Into the Night. That's the first one you should watch. Anyway.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, we are at an hour, 59.
Yeah, let's call it.
Sweet. That was easy.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. I'm Topher. That's Adam. You can follow us on Twitter. We're still working on getting our Instagram up, I believe.
I don't know if I'm going to do Instagram. I hate that platform so much.
I do too. Maybe just Twitter.
I mean, we do have a Rumble. I guess we have enough episodes. I could start uploading the episodes to Rumble.
Okay.
The great thing about Rumble is that but there's hardly any, what do you call it? They're not going to delete anything or cancel us on Rumble. So that's why I can do it up there.
Anyway, if you're listening right now, we'd appreciate feedback or any questions you may have for us. Reach out to us on Twitter at, what's our Twitter handle?
Our Twitter is UAP the podcast.
UAP the podcast. And if you want to reach out directly to me for some weird reason, I'm at uap.topher. It's all. That's PH.
Nice.
Topher PH.
Yes. Let us know what you guys think. Please follow the show. We'll make sure to get an episode up every week. And yeah, we'd love to hear back from our fans or followers.
Listeners, our friends.
Listeners, friends, exactly.
Our family.
Yes, spam.
All right, dude. I will hopefully see you soon.
All right. Take care.
Will do.
Stay positive.
Do my best.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Love you, dude. See ya.
Bye.